Welcome to Chapter 6 of Principles of Marketing for a Digital Age. Chapter 6 is on creating value through products and services. In this chapter, we'll learn the answers to several questions, including what is a product and what product levels create value for customers, how and why are products classified, and how are services different from goods, what is product portfolio management, what is the process by which new product innovations are developed? And how does design to value facilitate new product development? How does the product lifecycle inform marketing decisions? And how does product design influence the adoption of new products? When buyers think about how to meet their needs or how to get the job done, they typically think of the products that will provide a solution and offer the benefits they need. As marketers, we tend to do the same. We think about what product we want to bring to market and how to differentiate our products from those of competitors. Product reigns supreme, even though the value proposition is delivered through the whole offer, including all of the elements of the chosen marketing mix. At its most basic level, a product is something that is produced and offered for sale in the market. Products are bundles of features and attributes that can be best understood by viewing products as layers of value. This is reflected in the figure shown on the slide. We can distinguish 3 product layers, each of which includes elements of value for target buyers: the core product, the actual product, and the augmented product. When we design product offers for a target market, we can use these layers to develop a product with a strong value proposition that differentiates the product from the competition and fits the brand's positioning strategy. The actual and augmented product should be designed in such a way as to provide the values desired by the target market. Marketers study target market needs and wants, drawing upon buyer behavior insights in the target market personas, as we've discussed previously. Drawing upon Maslow's hierarchy of needs, met needs can be viewed as customer received value. These product levels relate directly to the tactical decisions marketers make when designing the product element of the marketing mix. The core product is the primary benefit to provide. The actual product includes product attribute decisions such as product quality, features and capabilities, style and design, packaging, labeling, and branding. The augmented product includes support services like installation, delivery, maintenance, and report and value add elements like mobile apps, loyalty programs, service quality, warranties and guarantees, and customer experiences. Bain, a consulting company, identified 30 elements of value that are relevant for end consumers and 40 elements that affect business-to-business buyers. The elements suggest opportunities for marketers to improve actual and augmented product offerings in ways that will provide competitive advantage. The B2C elements of value model is shown on the slide, and it's organized into 4 categories: social impact, life-changing elements, emotional elements, and functional elements. Reviewing these values can help marketers identify additional values that can be designed into the product offer. Bain also designed an elements of value model for B2B situations. These include 5 key categories: inspiration, individual impact, business value, functional elements, and table stakes. To test the model, Bain surveyed perceptions of value from 50 brands. The results showed that brands whose products provided 8 or more value elements performed significantly better than brands with fewer than 8 value elements. Some of the values identified are tied to operational standards and even brand purpose more so than product design, but other value elements can be offered by adding to the number of product features. This is a common approach when brands follow an incremental new product development strategy or sustaining strategy. Products can be classified in many ways, such as whether they're for consumer or business use, their durability, their location along the good-service continuum, and their level of involvement. When we look at level of involvement, we're looking at how consumers view the level of involvement when they're making a product decision. Convenience products are non-durable, low-involvement products that are purchased frequently. Consumer packaged goods, like soft drinks, snacks, and toilet paper, are convenience goods. Shopping products are those that inspire the buyer to gather information and make comparisons among competing brands. Thus, while convenience products have an abbreviated decision journey, the journey is extended for shopping products. Specialty products are typically high involvement purchases with an extended customer journey. These products may be expensive and may have limited distribution. Like the journey for shopping products, the moments of truth may play a role. But if a brand has earned loyalty, the loyalty loop in the customer journey may result in an abbreviated purchase process. Unsought products are those for which prospective buyers lack awareness of the product and its benefits and therefore do not actively move through the purchase process. Companies frequently manage a portfolio of products. Doing so allows companies to leverage the strength of their brands through brand extensions and to target multiple market segments with different offers. There are several common terms that you may find mentioned when discussing product portfolios, and these are listed on the slide. Product portfolio is also called a product mix, and it refers to the number of product lines being offered by a company. A product line is any one type of product in the product mix. Product line length is the number of products in a product line. Product line width is the number of product lines in a product mix. Product line depth is the number of subproducts in a line. And product line consistency is the degree of variation between the products within the product line. Companies may need to expand, reduce, or invest in their product portfolios depending upon the chosen marketing strategy and the environmental situation. From a marketing standpoint, an innovation is anything that customers perceive as new. The degree of innovation may be incremental or radical. Radical innovations introduce a truly new design that displaces previous design. Discontinuous innovations are new to the world products. These innovations may take some time to reach the marketplace. Just think of some of the aspects of daily life that we take for granted, but once upon a time were radical innovations. Electricity, air travel, radio, television, computers, and the internet. Radical innovations may also be disruptive. A disruptive innovation occurs when a new entrant in a market offers a functional alternative to the underserved, oftentimes at a lower price. Over time, the main market adopts the new product, which completes the disruption. The new competitor is pursuing the disruptive strategy in the jobs to be done growth strategy matrix, defined as the worst product for a lower price. The disruptive innovation model explains that the disruption is in part predicated on the use of a sustaining strategy by the competing incumbents. Because the incumbents focus on incremental innovations with only minor advantages, they leave an opening for new entrants to gain market share. Over time, the new entrant improves product performance and gains market share, ultimately changing the marketscape. Though it's exciting to think about discontinuous innovations, most new products are continuous innovations. In other words, the innovation is an incremental change in product design, product components, and/or related processes. Whether innovation is co-created by stakeholders for the long-term benefit of society, it is called social innovation. Social innovation is defined as new solutions for social issues that are more efficient, effective, and sustainable than the existing ones. When it comes down to it, the new product development process is much like that required for social innovation. There must be a viable idea, and its success is determined by whether it is adopted by the market. The figure you see in the slide illustrates the major steps in the new product development process. Let's look at what happens in each step in the process. Ideation is phase 1. In this stage, the organization comes up with new product ideas. In the second phase, the idea's viability must be assessed. We ask questions like, is the concept technically feasible? Does it already exist? Is the total available market sufficiently large to make it attractive? Assuming the concept is viable, the third phase will begin. This is the development of the concept into a prototype that can be further tested and assessed. If there are similar products offered by competitors, a competitive teardown may provide insight into the competitive design, quality, and materials. If the concept is a service, process mapping will be conducted. We'll discuss that further in Chapter 10. Once the prototype is developed and tested, branding decisions, including brand name, logo, and visual identity decisions, will be made. Part of this process will include checking registered trademarks to ensure the preferred brand name and logo are available and protectable. The package will be designed, including labeling decisions and a package prototype created. If funding and approvals are sought, a business case and or video proposal will be developed at this stage. The marketing strategy and tactics are planned. In the fifth stage, the concept and related materials must be protected and produced. The final phase is commercialization. In this phase, the marketing strategy and tactical plan are implemented and the product is made available in the marketplace. When designing products, I encourage you to use a design to value or DTV approach. Design to value is an integrated approach to product development that considers what customers want, what competitors offer, and what it costs to manufacture and distribute an end product. This is typically used in new product development. The concept of designing for value is key. There are many possible ways to add value even when designing incremental improvements to existing products. For instance, value could be tied to sustainability contributions, product safety, cost of ownership, or augmented services. The figure that you see in the slide illustrates the information sources that we use in the design to value process. The DTV process uses data from customer research, competitive intelligence, and cost analysis to ensure objectivity in design decisions. The customer research focuses on developing a deep understanding of customer value drivers and quantifying their worth. In other words, it considers not just what customers want, but how much they are willing to pay for specific product features. Journey mapping and other customer research approaches like ethnography, focus groups, and empathy mapping can be useful. Competitive teardowns refer to the disassembling of competing products to document technical and functional differences and identify strategies for reducing costs or optimizing features with a differential advantage. Teardowns are often part of a teardown workshop because seeing the competitors' products side by side can produce transformational design ideas. Clean sheet modeling involves determining what products should cost given different parameters such as design choices, raw material, and component quality. Clean sheet analysis is critically important for assessing opportunities for product design to facilitate sustainability initiatives like those identified in the United Nations SDGs. For instance, the cost of reducing packaging, utilizing renewable materials, and the energy use tied to production, shipping, and so on can be assessed and compared. The result of DTV is a list of specific and pragmatic ideas that companies can implement to increase customer value and improve competitive advantage while reducing product costs. The life of a product from start to finish is described by the product life cycle, and the figure shown on the slide illustrates the product life cycle. Most new products fail and consequently may experience an abbreviated life cycle. For successful products, the product life cycle can be useful for planning marketing strategy and tactics because it suggests typical shifts in the marketing mix for each stage of the cycle. Importantly, the life cycle describes the life of the product, not the life of a brand's product offer. Each stage is marked by specific characteristics as shown in the figure. You can see that in the introduction stage, the product is new and the focus must be on primary demand, which is demand for a product category. To drive primary demand, the market must be made aware of the product and educated on its value. There's little competition at this stage and pricing is critical. If the product enters the growth stage, sales will increase and competition may decide to enter the market with an imitative product. During the growth stage, sales are increasing sufficiently to support multiple competitors. Brands will strive to differentiate their offers from those of the competitors. In the maturity stage, sales continue to increase, but they do so at a declining rate. The products in the market have been augmented and developed to enhance their value, but this also means that customers have many choices. If the brands fail to differentiate themselves, the product may be perceived as a commodity. This puts downward pressure on prices. Some brands will innovate and/or reposition to reverse the life cycle progress. To reposition in the maturity stage, brands can use reverse positioning, breakaway positioning, or stealth positioning. If a product is no longer needed, it will enter the final stage of the product life cycle, which is called decline. Decline may be triggered by a new innovation or by a change in the environment. For instance, the ability to use Google Maps on our smartphones drove the decline of portable GPS units. Brands oftentimes will pursue a repositioning strategy in the maturity stage of the product life cycle. When they do this, they can pursue reverse positioning, breakaway positioning, or stealth positioning. Reverse positioning removes some product attributes while adding new ones. Breakaway positioning associates the product with a different category, such as Swatch watches treating its watches more like fashion jewelry than like a watch. Stealth positioning disguises the product's true nature as it attracts new customers. Some products remain in the maturity stage for decades. For instance, the market for televisions is mostly saturated. Households may add televisions in different rooms or replace televisions from time to time. Televisions continue to evolve, though, and people may choose to upgrade to the latest technology like curved screens and smart televisions. The product life cycle shows how sales vary over time, but another view of the life of an innovation can be seen through the innovation adoption model, which is shown on the slide. The innovation adoption model illustrates the diffusion of the innovation by the relative percentage of customers who adopt it at each stage. Product adoption is the process by which a consumer or business customer begins to buy and use a new good, service, or idea. The term diffusion describes how the use of a product spreads throughout a population. As shown in the figure, there are 5 categories of adopters. A small group of innovators give an innovation its start. Once the innovation begins to be adopted by the early majority, sales increase rapidly, and the late majority begins to adopt. The most risk-averse group are the laggards, and they adopt last. By the time laggards adopt a product, it may already be in the decline stage of the product life cycle. The point between early adopters and early majority is called the chasm. This is a critical point, sometimes called the tipping point, because a product is unlikely to succeed if it cannot cross the chasm to reach the early majority. Innovators and early adopters are interested in new technologies and prone to try innovations, but the early majority will not adopt until the product is perceived as reliable and advantageous. They may also wait until prices drop. Marketers strive to increase the rate of adoption to facilitate a product's success. There are 5 factors thought to drive adoption of innovations. These are listed on the slide, and they are relative advantage, compatibility, simplicity, observability, and trialability. Relative advantage is the degree to which the innovation is perceived as better than the incumbent product. Compatibility is the degree to which the product is compatible with any existing equipment and/or buyer values. The greater the compatibility, the faster the adoption. Simplicity is the degree to which the product is easy to understand and use. The simpler the product, the faster the adoption. Observability is the degree to which prospects are exposed to the product and can see others using the product. The more observable an innovation is, the faster the adoption. Trialability is the degree to which the product can be used prior to making a commitment. The ability to try a product without risk and experience the product's benefits before purchase can increase the rate of adoption. Another model for understanding the diffusion of innovation is the hype cycle. Importantly, the hype cycle shows that organizations should not invest in new technologies just because they are hearing hype about the technologies. Introduced by Gardner, a consulting firm, the hype cycle illustrates the typical progression of an emerging technology from optimism and enthusiasm through a period of disillusionment to an eventual understanding of the technology's relevance and role in a market. It's illustrated in the figure shown in the slide, and the initial stage of the hype curve is driven by buzz, primarily from media speculation about the technology's prospects. Later, the curve is driven by performance improvements and adoption. The hype cycle shows 5 phases of a technology's life cycle. Just as there is value in overlaying the product life cycle in the innovation adoption curve, it can be valuable to view the hype cycle in the context of adoption and sales. Doing so makes it clear which new products inspired by technology the technology may have experienced its own life cycle challenges. In the first phase, a research breakthrough serves as a technology trigger. In the second phase, the peak of inflated expectations, there is a lot of buzz about the technology, but the technology is unproven. The third phase is the trough of disillusionment, during which first-to-market products are introduced, but many fail. The fourth stage is the slope of enlightenment, at which point practical benefits of the technology emerge. The fifth stage is the plateau of productivity, when the market is ready to adopt products with the new technology and mass adoption is finally feasible. This is when mass adoption really beds in, and it's much easier for customers to commit to the new technology. In this video, you learned about creating value through products and services. You're now able to answer the questions shown in the slide. You understand what is a product, what are the levels of a product, and why are they relevant in developing a value proposition. You understand the philosophy of design to value and the stages in the new product development process. You also know the stages in the diffusion of innovations process and the factors that influence the rate of adoption for new products. You understand the product life cycle and how the stage of the product life cycle influences our decisions about marketing strategy. And lastly, you understand how the hype cycle helps us to understand the diffusion of new innovations.